I wanted to talk about fighting game content creation a little bit today, and some of my favorite content creators, some of my favorite people who do stuff for fighting games, and then talk a little bit about like what we're missing, and then I want to ask you guys also who your favorite content creators are, like in the scope of fighting games, and who I haven't seen. So there's a lot of people that I think just deserve some praise right off the top. If you didn't know who to follow in fighting games, if you just showed up and you're like, okay, I had to recommend like 5 people for fighting game news and information and content. First and foremost, I think if you have to go with somebody, you want a safe, solid bet, I think you go with Core Gaming, right? His videos are so good that they like transcend regular fighting game content. It's excellent. This is, I think, premier quality content. It's so good that people in other communities and other games who don't follow fighting games at all will follow and watch his stuff just because it's that good. This is where I would take your friends, if they don't know anything about fighting games, to just get them introduced and talk to them about like, hey, these are like how fighting games work. I think you can hit them with so many different things, right? But I think you start with maybe the why button mashing doesn't work, or you go into the frame data video, because that one's as fantastic as Ninja Please TV. Thanks very much. Core Gaming's content's great. In fact, I've even sent some of his videos to my dad before and been like, hey, you know, you want to learn about fighting games or whatever, check out this video. And I think that they're so digestible. It's one of those things where when it comes out, it's like I have to stop everything I'm doing in my life and then thank Tomerman for dropping the Twitch Prime. And after I thank Tomerman, I have to instead watch whatever Core Gaming video just came out, you know. The other one that I recommend all the time, and I recommended this on my YouTube channel, a lot of people didn't know what I was saying. I kept saying HiFight, and they were like, Hi-Fi? Hi-Fi? Who the hell is HiFight? HiFight, HiFight TH on Twitter. HiFight is fantastic. This is the ultimate location to find collections of GIFs, videos, news about fighting games, like everything. It's just no matter what you want, for whatever game you're interested in, you'll find something cool on here. And because HiFight speaks lots of different languages, you constantly see stuff for all kinds of different communities and stuff like that. Yeah, and he has a fighting game that he created called Footsies, which is great. It's a mobile game. You can play it on your phone with other people. So those are 2 people that I think have done really incredible stuff. And the cool thing about both of them is I feel like they are content creators that have sprung up kind of recently in the span of fighting games' lives. HiFight, I think, really started posting a lot maybe like 2 years ago or something like that. And I think like Gerald's videos are like 2 years old now, 2 or 3 years it feels like, since he started doing a lot of the analysis stuff. The very first analysis he did was the Shaq Fu one, right? Or was it the fighting games are better than combat sports one? That one was 3 years ago. Yeah, Smug has been crushing it lately. I think Smug is one of a perfect example of someone who really like recognized that it's not just like fighting game fans who love Smug, it's like everybody. He's such an enjoyable person to watch do anything, as enjoyable as thanking Ide is Born for thanks very much for dropping the tier 1. It's Born. Yeah, Smug shit is fantastic. He does really, really cool videos. I wanted to ask you guys who are your favorite creators that I might not know about. Juicebox. I think one thing about Juicebox is like, if you guys haven't been following fighting games for a long time, Juicebox used to create a lot of stuff a while ago. I remember watching a lot of Juicebox's videos like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I feel like. He did a fantastic job with stuff back in the day. He still does, actually. I remember like it was like a year or 2 ago, actually, that he was doing KI stuff. He was learning Killer Instinct and giving that game a shot. He's great. Yeah, I feel like Blasted Salami also falls into the category of people who a lot of people know about, right? Blasted Salami focuses on Tekken. Jesus, that was a tough sentence. Anybody who does something like that focuses on something like Tekken is really important, considering that Tekken kind of dropped and didn't have a lot of tutorial content. For a game like that, you know, you need help. I know very recently Blasted Salami started trying to go full time and do more content stuff. So this is a good example of somebody who a lot of people love. If it wasn't for Blasted Salami, I wouldn't know how to play Tekken, stuff like that, you know. Woolie also has made great content forever, because he used to do like the best friend stuff, and then now Woolie is making all of his own stuff, right? I had a chat with Woolie about fighting games. You know, there was that thing that we did at RTX, right? Where a lot of the people from Rooster Teeth's network were coming up to the stage. Everybody else from the Rooster Teeth umbrella, when they were watching Mortal Kombat, they're like, yeah, get over here, you know? Like, they didn't know near as much, right? Woolie came up to the stage and was like, you know, the thing about Cetrion is, like, yeah, you can flawless block some of her projectiles and stuff, but the one thing that you're gonna, and I was like, oh, Woolie, it's so nice to see you. He's awesome. Woolie is definitely a hero. The thing about getting into fighting games, as you guys know, and as I know, Getting into a new fighting game is a big experience. You have to jump into it. There's a reason that like once every 2 months, I'm going to learn a brand new fighting game. And when I do that, I purposely put myself through the same kind of routine to learn a new fighting game. Because I think there's a lot of people who are fighting game teachers or content creators, and they forget what it feels like to be a new player. You have to remember what new players feel when they play a game so that you can explain things in a different way. So that's why, like, I remember when Rip was asking me when Tekken 7 was coming out and he was thinking about making tutorials, he was like, I just want you to ask me questions you have about Tekken that don't make any sense to you. The things that you'll ask me questions of are like things that any new player who knows about other fighting games but doesn't know about Tekken would ask. One of the most invaluable perspectives you can have as a creator is, what do the new players think about? What is on the new player's mind? VesperArcade does fantastic stuff too. Yeah, Vesper has been making stuff for forever. I see him streaming all the time when I'm looking at the Street Fighter category. I think he's fun to watch, especially when the new characters come out. He has a good attitude, so it's fun to just listen to him try out new characters. Bafael has really great content too. It's just very dense, right? Bafael is one of those teachers that, like, if you had him in the morning and he turned off the lights and like the projector was up, you'd fall asleep. But the thing is like, as long as you pay attention, you'll learn a lot. He's really, really in-depth. He does great stuff. Bafael has some good stuff. And he plays a bunch of old games, right? He plays like Third Strike on stream and shit too. If you want to learn about like something like Third Strike, actually, he's a great person to go watch for that. Yeah, AutoMattock is another person that I highly recommend. AutoMattock's super smart. He plays a lot of characters. He always tries new characters when they come out. He's always willing to give some new characters a shot. And then he really tries to like maximize and optimize these characters. So for that reason, I think he's really, really fun to watch because he's just so smart and he does such a great job of like breaking down all these brand new characters. And he's tried other games on his stream too. He's played like Mortal Kombat. He's played all kinds of shit. I like watching Brian F stream. Brian F stream has good tunes. He has like a good mindset when he's playing games. He's fun to listen to. He's very smart. He interacts with chat a lot. It's great. Highly recommend Brian F. One stream that I really love, and I'm happy to see that it's getting a lot more viewership lately, is Bronson's stream. I gotta delete this part of the video. Don't ever tell Bronson I said this. His stream is fucking great. The Bronson stream is literally this. They're a bunch of old men playing old men music that's really relaxing and really good. And then it's Jimmy and him and some of the other NorCal players, or guess if they're in town. They had like Double there a little while ago. And it's just them playing Tekken. And it's just real relaxing. His style of stream is one that I don't think exists as much. And it's really, really nice. Because normally the way streams work is that they need call and response from the streamer and the chat room. You know what I mean? It needs to be like, I say stuff to you guys or you say stuff to me and we talk back and forth. Bronson's stream has no call and no response, really. They read the Twitch chat sometimes, right? They're reading it too. But it's really just two people playing games with tunes in the background. High level Tekken play all night long. It's really, really relaxing. It's very good. Press Buttons Win is a cool smaller channel that makes a series called Think Don't Mash, where he literally goes from square one and makes a guide for developing a strategy where you focus on only using one tool for each situation. So when I created my beginner's guide, I kind of did the same thing as that, where I would say like, okay, when you're in X rank, this is really all you need. And when you're in this rank, you can add on one skill. And then when you're in this rank, you can add on one skill. That's kind of what I did. Patrick Miller is another good one, actually, to talk about. Pat's articles and stuff. He's been writing a lot lately. Pat the Flip. Yeah, Pat the Flip has been writing, and he's been doing a lot of stuff lately for his Patreon. I know that. He's a big Guilty Gear fan. In general, he plays a lot of anime games and like KOF and stuff. He plays all kinds of shit, but he streams on Twitch, Pat the Flip, and then also he has his Patreon here where he posts all kinds of shit. And look at that. Supported by Patrick Miller. Damn, these are all the patrons that he supports. He's a fucking hero. That's a big-ass list. But he's done a lot of writing and stuff like that. In terms of written fighting games articles, there's actually not that many. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of written articles in fighting games that are meant for our community. You know, I've had a lot of people recommend NihongoGamer, but I haven't seen much of his stuff. I only saw his EVA Japan video. And that was like the only thing I saw about NihongoGamer on YouTube. He likes coffee, right? I might have to talk to this guy when I go back to Japan. Yeah, JDCR is another example of a player who does great content, right? JDCR is one of the few players I think who really puts a lot of effort into his YouTube channel. Like JDCR's content is like, he has lots of vlogs. He has like how to play Armor King, and his tutorials, his basic tutorials are really great. The one jab tutorial and the improving your offense tutorial are very good. Oh, he reviewed the patch notes. Wow, 2 hours. I should check that out, actually. I gotta watch it in fast motion. The how to wave dash video did very well. The thing is like when people think about fighting game content, they think like you have to be like very fancy. But look at this video, right? Check out this video from JDCR. This is JDCR's wave dash video. So what does he have? He has a camera for his hands where he's wave dashing, and he has the gameplay. My content looks like shit. Look at that, and look at that. I got these random pictures that people drew for me, these very talented artists, and a webcam on the screen. That's it. No fucking actually, you know, cohesive look or experience at all. And I don't know how to white balance a fucking webcam to save my life. And it gets the job done. JMCrofts, yeah, JMCrofts has made a lot of stuff. He had 100K on YouTube recently, right? Yeah. There's a lot of YouTube creators out there that create fighting game stuff that I feel like if you're not super connected to the YouTube space, you probably haven't seen much of them. Yeah, Offcast is a great example of someone that I should talk about, actually. So if you guys don't know Offcast Lewis, he works over at XSplit, and he's been creating a lot of cool stuff lately on his YouTube channel in particular. Offcast has the know-how to do all this, right? He is someone that works in production. He works for XSplit. He does a lot of the events out in Asia. He handles a lot of the stuff out there with like FARP and cameraman and everything. But his videos are actually super high quality. Watch, check this out. This is, you know, they're doing interviews at Evo, right? This is Evo in like a hotel room or suite or something. But like, it's very clear that the audio and video of this is like, you know, he has the gear to do really nice content. And this video is what will evil be like in 10 years?
I'll be dead in 10 years, so I don't think it'll...
Fucking Hanzo, what an answer. This is cool. I think this is the kind of video that I can get behind full sale. This is great. You know, a website that I want to talk about actually, that I think is very cool. It's called Toptier.gg. Have you guys seen this website before? Toptier.gg. So they have traditional articles. They have fighting game articles that you can read here. Some of them written by Choi Sauce or Eli. One of the coolest parts about this is, I think, the find your event feature. The way it works is you see that, you know, they have this big list on here. What you can do is you can go and post your event. So if you're in, you know, some region of the US and you want people to know about your weekly or something like that, you have the ability to mark it on here wherever it is. You're over in Spain and you're like, hey, we have this great Dragon Ball local we want to put on here. You can drop a pin on here and type in the event name. So you can submit event names and they will mark it on here and you can find it. So wherever you are in the world, if you want to drop pins about the locals you have, you can. So this is one I think one of the more useful features for fighting games, because one of our big issues is we have, you know, how do you find all the locals in your scene, right? There's like Discords you can look at, there's Facebook groups and stuff, but I think that this is a really cool one. Even stuff like the featured event, Fighting Tuesday and Caliburst and NLBC and the Arc Revo coming up for the finals. So I think that this is a really cool website, toptier.gg. Yeah, we should probably talk about that too. ki.info.net. I've shilled this guide plenty. The greatest fighting game guide to ever exist, ki.info.net. There's no better fighting game resource on the planet, I think, than ki.info.net. I feel like I should get it tattooed on my fucking chest, ki.info.net. The greatest fighting game guide to ever exist. Like, I can't believe that this thing exists, to be honest. KI players are very spoiled by how awesome this is. No other fighting game guide I've ever seen has been close to how useful this guide is. Let's say you want to play KI and you're like, you know, I'm really interested in learning how Hisako works. So you go to this guide, you click on Hisako, you go to Hisako's character page, and there's a list of all of the special moves, how they work, and what they do. All of them. Look at this. And it also even gives you stats on how the character is. So look at the rushdown, defense, instinct, footsies, damage, zoning, etc. Style. What their style is, what they're similar to in other games, how they work, strengths and weaknesses, why you should play them, why you shouldn't play them. The most optimal counterbreaker combos for when you get a counterbreaker. What's crazy is that the max damaging counterbreak combos all exist on this website and people still don't do them in tournament and stuff. It's crazy to me. How their unique mechanics work. It's really good. What do I think is missing from the current FGC sphere? I currently think that when it comes to fighting games, one of our big weaknesses was talk shows. I think our current talk shows are not what I want them to be. They're not what I want out of a talk show. It's kind of why I started doing my own version of a mini talk show on my stream. There's not a lot of talk shows that talk about the stuff that I want people to talk about. So why don't I just open up my stream and do it myself? Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for skits. Skits are great. People love skits, right? I think when BornFree does his skits, people like those. Skits are great. People like that kind of stuff. More focused recap shows. For as an example, last year we did the Tekken World Tour recap shows, and those weren't perfect, but I think they were a good step. I think that recap shows are also something that we could use more of. The fact that we don't have any more recap shows for like the Tekken World Tour to be like, hey, all these dojo events happen, all these tournaments happen this weekend. Here's where the standings are currently at. Let's discuss that, and then, you know, this weekend upcoming is X and Y and Z event. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning into this, you know, recap show. We'll catch you next week. But the fact that that doesn't exist surprises me, and it surprises me that Party Marty dropped the Twitch Prime, thanks very much. And yeah, I think the one thing that needs to be created more is mid-level content, and I think stuff like that is hard to do because creating beginner level content is a certain skill set, creating advanced level techniques and stuff is another skill set, but having the knowledge to show off like, hey, here's how you deal with and punish this, there comes a point where you think to yourself, well, once you're past the mid-level or a beginner level stage, once you're mid-level, if there's an issue, you can probably figure it out yourself. But I don't think that's always true. And I think really the kind of stuff you have to teach mid-level players is not like, hey, here's how you punish this move. It's how to change their mindset or lab or learn certain skills that are like not obvious. Even if you've gotten better as a player, how do you learn that mid-level stuff that gets you to the next level? That kind of stuff is hard, I think, and intermediate level content is tough. Yeah, I'm with you. LK and Sage make great stuff for sure. People always want more stuff to watch, always want more stuff to listen to, always they want to consume. And I think a lot of times in fighting games, we don't give people enough stuff to consume, right? We don't give them enough articles and video content, and really a lot of our stuff has boiled down to ranked streams. Really, I think the most interesting stuff is stuff that is educational stuff and discussion. That's what people really want to dig their teeth into, right? I watch Best of 5. It's not for me. I know that it tries to be a recap show, and there's certain parts of the show that I like, but it doesn't. I don't think it does what I want it to do very well. It needs to be tightened up a little bit, I think. And I think I've realized why a lot of the stuff that I create usually does pretty well is because Moste edits down these conversations into really short bite-sized stuff. You digest it and it's quick. Especially because you can do 1.5 speed or 1.75 speed and just boom, 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 and you get the point of it real quick. He's really a hero. Just like there's a hero with Mike Hawk, the Hoop Squad. Thanks very much. You see there's a pause in there, all right? You can't just go around thanking Mike Hawk for dropping the tier 1. Thanks very much. You guys are children, you know that?